Welcome to this week's edition of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Lines are open. We encourage you to call your questions in early, 920-923-1450 or 888-900-1450. Or you can email them to kfizstudio@gmail.com. Send some pictures along if you choose to do so. It makes it much easier for our gang here to take a look at pictures. And speaking of our gang, no, it's not a comedy from the 30s. Our gang includes Ron Rademann, the one, the only. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jerry.
Good to see you on a Saturday morning again.
Yeah, it's another chilly.
Started out that way.
Yeah, it's just going to kind of be like that for the next 10 days or so again yet.
Good sleeping weather.
We were talking about it last Saturday, and the forecast held together, and looks like low 70s mostly every day in the foreseeable future, the next 10 days or so.
It does. It does.
Chilly in the morning, though, then, you know.
Yeah, I mean, these are all too short days. You got to wear long sleeves in the morning if you're out early, and then by now it's like, I think I'm having a hot flash. We say good morning to a pair of master gardeners today. We'll start off with Patty.
Good morning.
Good to see you. And you can reintroduce your guest who has been here before.
This is my best friend, master gardener friend, Katie.
Hi again, Katie.
Good morning.
Oh, that was so cute. You guys put your heads together. That's what happens when you work off of one mic. So the first question always is, Rademann's open this morning?
Rademann's is open, sure. And, of course, we will be open till noon today and Monday through Friday till 4:30. Next Saturday, open, and then the following Saturday, 4th of July, we won't be open.
And we won't be here.
And we won't be here either,
right,
to remind everybody not to go to Rademann's. So
None of us will be here. Even I have the day off.
I know when Sean said that, I said, well, if Jerry's not working, then we're not going to have a show.
Well, that was the station choice, not mine. A day is a day is a day, you know. But
sure,
the rest of them are off. So
all right.
I'd be here doing sports. I'd be here doing news. I'd be here doing the show, and
yeah, that's okay.
Whatever. So
that's not for 2 more weeks.
I'll take the day.
Cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. My guess is I'll probably wake up at the normal time anyway.
Yeah.
Anyhow, speaking of emails at kfizstudio@gmail.com, we had one come in early with pictures, and it's printed out, and I obviously don't have the question up here, but you have it in front of you, Ron, so I'll let you talk about the beer.
Well, it's a picture of a Weigelia, and of course it's one of the larger ones. It looks to me like Red Prince Weigelia, so it's got green foliage, grows rather vigorously, gets large, has red flowers right around now, and it's got a couple dead spots in it. And Weigelia are, I don't know, they're just a little borderline hardy, I guess, let's just say. And they occasionally will end up with a few dead branches in the middle, on the edges, on the tips, things like that. And you could either trim those dead branches out anytime, really. And in this case, probably the sooner the better. It's got like a little bit of this particular picture, this particular Weigelia has almost a dead center. And I would probably go in there with my curved saw right at the base and do a little thinning out right from the bottom, and that would encourage some new growth. And you may even get if you trim your Weigelia hard at this time of year, which you could, because it's early enough in the season. And this one here is kind of just finishing flowering. You could wait another week and let it enjoy the flowers as they occur, if you have other Weigelias that are a little behind this one. And you'll get I would do a little thinning out. I wouldn't necessarily head them back, because in this case, this one's trimmed pretty tight, so you wouldn't have to shear it back or anything like that. Once you trim it, you might want to tip it back a little bit just to even it out. anything to add, Patty?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I would, shape it after you thin out all all those dead branches. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit wonky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there isn't a lot of dead in this particular one.
Yeah.
Just a couple of branches more in the center. So trim that dead out, and then trim a little bit of the live out of it also, just to rebalance it and make it more consistent, let's just say, so that it's uniformly thin or uniformly full all the way around, rather than just taking the dead out. It would be fine to take some of the green out of it too here in early, mid, late June yet.
I would make sure the ones I do thin out or trim back would go to an outward facing bud. Otherwise, it's going to all grow towards the center, and that's not good either.
Yeah, good point, Patty. Mm-hmm.
All righty. Hope that answers Sue's question. And the reference to beer was autocorrect errors. She was talking about in her bush the bare spot, and apparently it autocorrected to the beer spot. I'm not a master gardener and I'm not an expert. I would have said, if it's Bud Light, change to Coors. That should solve the problem.
I would say maybe when Mike finishes up trimming the Weigelia, that he could have a beer.
There you go. Well, that could have been, just a premonition.
So
anyhow, lines are open. If you got a question, call early, because then they have a chance to properly answer your question. 920-923-1450, 888-900-1450. And again, that email address, as you can see, it plainly works, kfizstudio@gmail.com.
So, yeah.
It's still a really good time if you need to move anything around in your yard. It's cool enough for that to survive very, very easily in a different location if it needs to be moved around.
You're running me up a flagpole here,
the
Patty.
perennials
perennials,
yeah.
Yeah, you'd want to be careful moving trees and shrubs
Yeah.
right now, because they're in an active growth spurt. So don't be shuffling those around here quite yet.
Katie's got one. She's got a Weigelia that's getting lost in some growth, and she needs to save it. So she's going to try and do that.
I wouldn't do it right now. You won't save it. You'll kill it.
Oh, jeez. Well, I don't know. Do you have a choice? Can you wait till?
My neighbor asked me to move it out of her yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would wait at least another month. If you're going to do any transplanting of growing trees or shrubs, wait until it's not the best time, but this might be like the worst time. If you could wait until the middle of July, typically most plants will kind of grow in spurts. And if you can let them finish this growth spurt and then move it, that would be better than doing it right now in June. So let it finish growing, kind of harden off, and then a lot of times you can kind of catch them in between. It's still a little bit tricky moving any leafy plant during the summer months. And at the other side of the spectrum, if you wait until the end of July or 1st of August, works out real well to move evergreens at that time of year, your pines, your spruce, because they finish growing for the season, for the year. They aren't going to grow anymore, especially pines, spruce, fir, things like that. Arborvitaes and junipers will kind of continue to grow, but they don't grow aggressively, so you could probably get away with those too. But I would hold off on perennials. If you're moving hostas, daylilies, easy to move things like that. That shouldn't really be a problem, but I'd steer clear of moving any leafy plants right now.
All righty. We had a caller that tried to get through. They hung up. So if you got a question, give a call back. Right now, we're going to go into our first break.
All right. sounds like a good idea. Again, Rademann's is open today, Monday through Friday till 4:30, here on Saturday mornings till noon, and you can still get a delivery if you give Joe a call here real quick and tell him you need it yet today, 920-922-7612.
And we are back. Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company, 920-923-1450, 888-900-1450. Email-wise, kfizstudio@gmail.com. Our caller is on the air. Good morning. Go ahead. Hello? Hello? Well, goodbye.
Must have had a bad connection.
Apparently.
So.
I don't know. All the buttons are properly pushed, so that's what can I say? Anyhow.
Somebody's trying to push our buttons.
And succeeding.
Yeah. Well, try back.
923-1450 is the line. And off air, I had a question. You said, let's talk about that. Japanese use and things, green things, can we still trim those? I trimmed mine probably way too early this year, but I hadn't trimmed it last year, and it was obnoxious. So I had trimmed it, and now they've obviously growing back. Can I still trim?
Yeah, you want to kind of resist the temptation of trimming Japanese yews and arborvitas and things like that that grow out through the spring season. If you can wait just a couple more weeks, I always
wait forever if I could.
I always like to work off of holidays because it's usually easier to remember. And right around July 1st, July 10th, so hence July 4th, works a real good time. Is a good time to be trimming Japanese yews. If you do them too early, then you end up trimming them a second time because they just keep right on growing and grow actually a little more vigorously than what they were because you've cut them back. So if you can wait and trim them here in a couple weeks, that would be better because then you're kind of halfway through the growing season. They'll still grow a little bit. They'll kind of cover up your cuts, cover up any mistakes that you make, and we all make a mistake here or there as whenever we're trimming.
Yes.
Sometimes more so than others. And if you trim them, then, and the other, if you start trimming them too early, then you have a tendency to wait until August or September to be trimming, and now you're getting them off cycle again or trimming them in the spring the next year. So if you can just kind of hold off and always trim every year around the 1st of July, 4th of July, that works the best on yews, because then if you're trimming them once a year instead of having to trim twice a year or tempted to trim more than once a year. So
okay, well, something to do when we're off from here.
And if you're and the same kind of goes with arborvitas. They'll keep growing and kind of again cover up any mistakes you make. If you happen to have any Mugo pines anymore yet, we don't see those used as foundation plants near as much as what we used to. But if you do have Mugo pines, those you could trim now, and you want to actually trim those, here somewhere around the 15th, 20th, 25th of June, a couple weeks ahead of yews, because they'll candle out and then they'll reset a bud for next year. So you can nip those candles back halfway, 2/3, or pinch them off already when they're only 1 inch out, and then you'll restrict the growth and hold them back. So great time to be doing. And we're right at the end of the trimming season on Mugo pine. So
you can also do some trimming on your lilacs now. This is probably the best time. And I've knocked my mock orange out of trimming schedule, so only half of it is blooming because I trimmed off the top way too late last year because it was growing like crazy. And now I got to wait and do it right after it blossoms, I think.
Yeah, that mock orange are kind of on the same schedule actually as like your Japanese yews, and that you'll right around the 1st of July works out best for them because they're flowering, like you said, right now, and they'll be probably flowering for another week or two here yet.
Yep.
And so you want to wait until more like around the 1st of July to be trimming mock orange.
If
And
you-
again, if you do it too late,
yes,
then you
don't get flowers.
don't get flowers next year. Yeah.
As you found out.
Yes, I did.
Lines are open for you, 920-923-1450. Excuse me, 888-900-1450 will work as well.
And you could be trimming, a lot of times, like spireas work best trimming too around the 4th of July because they've kind of, you get that initial flower. And when I'm talking spirea, I'm thinking more of the Anthony Water or Neon Flash or Gold Mound or Gold Flame or Magic Carpet.
So
you know,
many,
those.
so many.
There's, but it's all, all the same trimming schedule, I guess. Wait until they finished flowering or when most of the flowers have finished. And a lot of times if you nip those back here, the end of June, early July, you'll get another burst of flowers in end of August or early September. So it's, you kind of get rewarded for your work at least.
Yes.
Diligence pays.
Mm-hmm. And there again, too, if you wait too long, then that doesn't work. So you want to get those right around the 1st of July.
I generally just try and as soon as a few of the blossoms are kind of faded up or browned out, then I just go in there and just snip those out each as they're getting done about this time of year or after they're done.
You have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's garden enjoyment is a little bit different. Some people like snipping one at a time, and some people think, well, let's just get through this and move on. Yeah.
I can't. They're still looking okay.
All righty, we got an email question in, and it says, when is it the best time to start a raspberry patch? Bill wants to know.
Well, I'd say you could start right now, pick up some plants. I'm sure you can find like small potted raspberry plants if you go to, garden centers. Hensey Florals, Stewart's, I'm sure would have raspberries yet at this time of year. If you go to the boxes, they might be sold out or they might be in pretty rough shape by now. Although, with it being cooler the last week or two, that helps places like that have good plants yet. I wouldn't plant bare root. I wouldn't order anything online and have it shipped bare root at this time of year. That would be quite risky. If they've been dormant this long, it's probably not good to try and pull them out of a bare root cold storage and throw them right into the heat of July. So you'd want to plant, pick out quart-sized or 1 gallon size plants and plant them right now.
What if you go to your neighbor's that has too many?
Well, I don't know if that would work at this time of
No.
year either, because they're going to be like actively growing. You could do that out of, when you get more in season, and that would probably be best to try early spring, during, I would say
April?
late April.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're just starting to come up and they're like up a inch or two,
Yeah.
then you could thin out, borrow from a neighbor, a friend. They probably wouldn't even miss them.
No, they're trying to get rid of them actually. But
And sometimes that helps too, thinning them out a little bit like that. Mm-hmm. So, but
Plenty of chores.
Don't try transplanting them at this time of year. It won't work. You'll be spending a lot of energy for no good reason, it'll fail.
But
Mhm.
for Bill, if you get a big enough container of something that looks good, it's appropriate now.
Yeah, it's okay to plant now. It's just not okay to dig them out now. So that's always kind of the key is planting or transplanting. There's two different words there, and you can plant at this time of year, but you can't transplant at this time of year. So,
Makes it easy.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Dead air. Nobody has anything to say, so you guys might as well call in your questions. 923-1450.
Well, we'll talk about if you tuned in late or you have to cut out early, you can always check back and listen to the beginning of the show, the end of the show, the whole show, the middle of the show, whichever part you want to re-listen. You can go on KFIZ on demand and pop us up, or otherwise you can do a search on YouTube and just search for Landscape Smart 26, and you'll get all the opportunity to watch any show, listen to any show that you missed earlier this year. If you search Landscape Smart 24, you'll find the ones from 2 years ago. May or may not be pertinent at this year. I don't quite remember what it was like in the end of
Weather-wise,
June.
yeah.
So I don't necessarily think I would follow the advice we gave you in June of 24, but might be fun to look at how we've aged in 2 years.
And it might not be.
Or it might not be. But yeah, search
Perspective.
Landscape Smart 26, and then you'll get the most current information. So,
Perfect. What about our lawns with the weather the way it is? Anything special we should be doing, or just keep them trimmed?
well, the rains have been timely, and it's been cool here now the last couple weeks. So as far as if you put a new lawn in a couple weeks ago, it's probably doing pretty well. And, I'm never one for doing a lot of fertilizing at this time of year. You could probably sneak a light application of step 2 in right now yet. You'd have to, and that's only because it is in the low 70s here for the next 10 days or so yet. And, they are still, we're in a timely pattern of occasional showers coming through. So if you put your step 2 down a month ago, you could redo step 2. It's a little bit too early to do step 3. I wouldn't do that. And we're kind of like right at the end of the season on step 2. So do get that down real quick if you're going to do it. I wouldn't wait another week to do it. Do it this weekend or early part of the week. And then if it really does rain on Tuesday night like they're forecasting, it'll work out real well.
And with our forecast, what about bare spot patch seeding that you didn't get to earlier in the year?
Yeah, well, that would be it's still a great time to do any new seeding, and there, stop out at Rademann's and pick up some Madison Parks and our starter fertilizer that goes along with that. And you want to do some type of mulching, either straw mulch or some type of protection at this time of year. If you try seeding bare ground and don't put any mulch over the top, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle because it dries out so quick. The problem we have right now is we've got, we're in the middle of about 17 hours of daylight. So even if you're watering every morning, there's about 15 more hours that it's going to dry out. So you almost, if you don't mulch it, put straw mulch or some type of protection over it, it's going to dry out so quick. You'd actually have to be watering twice a day. Water once early in the morning and water again at 1 in the afternoon or 2 in the afternoon, because otherwise it's going to be all dried out by by the end of the day. So
And when you put the straw cover down, is it a thick layer or just a thin enough layer just to cover the dirt and the seed?
yeah, just a light enough layer just to kind of shade it is what you're doing, and it'll kind of hold the top moisture so that, and it gets, as you water, then the straw gets wet, or there's like blanket fiber, wood fiber blankets you can put over the top too to help them get started. And it does two or three things actually well together. It shades the soil, and the soil is typically pretty dark, so it attracts the sun rather well. It's not white. If you have white soil, that's a different problem. And black soil, brown soil, it also holds the moisture, and it shades it enough and moderates the soil temperature so that it doesn't get so hot on the surface so quick from that sun beating down on it. So the mulch kind of serves three purposes: holds the moisture, shades it, and also moderates the soil temperatures. So
Perfect.
so that's why you want to use mulch, and that's why you want to use wood mulch, bark mulch around in your perennial beds too, because it does all the same things.
Alrighty. Guess what time it is?
Sounds like it's time for a break.
I think so.
So Rademann's open today until noon, Monday through Friday till 4:30, and you can stop in and visit us here yet this morning or any day next week, 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, east on County B.
And we are back. Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. And again, the lines are open for you. 920-923-1450. 888-900-1450. Email kfizstudio@gmail.com. So we learned about mulching, and we learned about covering seed. What about our gardens?
So in my vegetable garden, after all the plants are planted and the seeds are up in their rows, I go through and I mulch my whole garden so that I don't have to water it all summer or weed it.
Mhm.
It's I haven't had any issues of a lot of weed growth for the last 4 years because I just mulch it every year.
Good reason to do it.
Yeah.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I have a question. I have that pear tree in the backyard, and there were so many blossoms and everything in the springtime, but when we had that frost, it kind of wiped it out. How can I baby that pear tree for next year, get it prepared for next year?
So was the new growth damaged by the frost?
Yes.
And what's it doing now? Is it still green, and are the
Yes.
tips brown?
The tips, some of the tips are brown. I had to cut some of the little tiny branches off, but there's nothing there right now. I'm not going to get any pears this year, I don't think.
Well, if you'd see the little pears forming if by now if you
There's
had them,
nothing.
yeah. So it probably was, and we saw some some scattered frost damage on a lot of things here. Well, it kind of depended on where you're at and because but I guess to answer your question, it probably would be best to thin it out a little bit, just take some of the stress off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's got dead tips, you could nip those dead tips off, or any dead branches, take those off.
Okay.
For sure. And
Mm-hmm.
it probably would, how big of a tree, or how old, or how long has this been in the ground?
About a little over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It might be 6 feet tall, maybe.
I think what I would do is put some water soluble fertilizer on it. If you stop out to Rademann's, they've got some like Fertilome that's a liquid fertilizer, and you mix it up in a 5-gallon pail, pour some into a 5-gallon pail, and fill it with water, and then you're kind of watering and fertilizing at the same time. And being as it's only, it's a younger tree, you don't need a lot to do that. And do it as soon as possible. I mean, it doesn't need to be necessarily today as soon as possible, but this coming week, and then wait a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and do it again. And that should spark some new growth out of it. What it'll do is it'll get the root system growing, and then if the root system starts growing, it'll push out some more new growth. So, and it's kind of critical, because if you don't, and it just kind of subsists this year, it will be stress coming into that next year too. So, especially if it's only a couple years old, if it was 10 years old, it's probably old enough, tough enough where it can fight its way through it. But a 2-year-old tree is still a little, it's vulnerable, let's just say. So you want to make sure that you keep it going.
How often should I water it?
Well,
lot.
no, yeah. Well, pear trees don't like to be watered too often. So if you're
Twice a week?
nope, that's too often. Once a week at the most, and maybe even every 10 days would be often enough. Don't. If you water it more than once a week, you'll actually be doing it more harm than good, because you do want those. And at the same time, if you use this fertilizer, you're mixing that with water, then, water it, put the fertilizer down with the 5-gallon bucket, let's just say, and then water it again, and then hold off for a week, and then, or 10 days, and water it again, and then wait another week or 10 days, and then you could fertilize it again. So you'll water it once in that 10-day period in between the two fertilizings.
Now, what about putting mulch around it, but away from the trunk?
Yeah, definitely.
What kind of mulch?
Well, I like, some type of wood mulch, bark mulch. Don't use grass clippings. That would be more harmful than helpful. But yeah, more of that way, if you use like a wood chip mulch, it you've got some air circulation in there. It's not, it doesn't pack or compress. It's lighter and airier.
What about those cocoa pellets or beans or whatever you call them things, those mulch?
Well, I don't
like
those.
cocoa.
Yeah, I don't like to use those around trees. Now, you could use a light layer of those in perennial beds, and they definitely suppress weeds and hold moisture. They can tend to get moldy.
Yes.
So
Fungus.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Oh,
It's very disgusting fungus that can get.
so
really?
Yeah.
yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I personally don't like the cocoa bean hulls, but some people like the aroma.
It does smell good.
It's not good for dogs though, if dogs get into it.
Oh.
Yeah, you want to be careful there if you do have dogs, because again, that's chocolate. So
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
All righty, good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for the call. Lines are now open, 923-1450, 888-900-1450, as we dive into our third break.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about mulch again. 'Cause
Okay.
that opens up another can of worms, so to speak. So again, Rademann's open till noon today, Saturday, Monday through Friday till 4:30. And you can still get a delivery today, 920-922-7612, or stop on out just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, east on County B.
Hi. We are back, the final waning moments of this week's edition of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone Landscape Company. Still can get a question or two in, 920-923-1450, 888-900-1450, or email at kfizstudio@gmail.com. Back to mulch.
Well, I was just going to say, and if anybody wants to interrupt, please call in, because if you don't call in right now, you
You wait
You'll be waiting
a week.
A week.
a week. 6
Oh.
days.
Well,
And
stand by on the mulch.
sounds good.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, this is a mulch question. Can I put grass clippings around my tomato plants?
Yes, you can. I do all the time. But I do lay down some newspapers or something on the soil and then put the grass clippings on the top of that.
Where do you find newspaper these
Okay.
days?
Well,
Patty?
I've
That's what I was
I've been
wondering.
using cardboard more
Oh,
than newspaper.
Yeah. Okay. That would a much better idea. Yeah. It's easy to find cardboard and
Right.
impossible to find newspaper.
The newspaper serves to block out the light so that any weed seeds can't sprout, and then the mulch stays there and holds the newspaper in place and keeps the soil moist and cool, and the tomatoes tend not to get hardly any blossom end rot because you're mulching them.
Keeps the
Okay.
soil
Will that
moisture.
newspaper dissolve?
Of course, it does.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, and then when you
Okay.
rototill in the fall, the newspaper or the cardboard or corrugated board, whatever you're using, that it just goes right back into the soil,
Yeah.
so you don't have to try to recover it or pull it out of there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for your help. I
You're
enjoy
welcome.
your show.
Thank
And
you.
we appreciate your call. Have
Well,
a great weekend.
And that was exactly what I was going to bring up about the mulching is, because we were kind of talking about that, and grass and corrugated board, cardboard, that type of product works great in a vegetable garden, but you don't want to use that around trees or in your lawn. You want to use straw or fiber mulch for lawns. You want to use wood chips or bark mulch around trees, because the grass will mat and it holds the moisture real good, and it's good for one season, a couple months in a garden. Works great around your tomatoes and vegetables and things like that, but it's not good for the long-term health of a tree, because as it breaks down, it's smothering and
And it builds a soil layer up.
it builds a soil layer up,
Yeah.
like Patty said, and then you're it's almost like planting a tree too deep.
Right.
And a lot of times, we'll see that problem, and it's not like you planted the tree too deep originally, but you ended up planting it too deep over time because you kept adding bark mulch. And after 3 or 4 years, it's best to get in there and clean all that old bark mulch out and put it in your vegetable garden.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty good compost at that point in time, and then put a fresh layer of bark down.
I prefer
So-
the hardwood shredded mulch, any type of hardwood, over those colored mulches, because it seems those colored mulches are not that great of a mulch.
Well, the colored mulches it's actually, for the most part, it's a pine product, because usually there can be chopped up pallets, things like that in there. It's not usually an organic mulch, and you can't ever say that it is or it isn't, because it's a product that you don't really know exactly where it comes from. Now, I mean, if you buy cedar mulch, it comes from a cedar tree.
Yeah.
And if you buy hemlock mulch, it comes from a hemlock tree. And if you buy hardwood mulch, it comes from oak or ash or maple, birch, something like that. But if you buy the dyed mulch, it could be pine, it could be spruce, it could be maple, could be oak, it could be anything, because what they've done there is just dyed it. And of course, we sell the dyed mulch out at Rademann's. But we also have hardwood mulch, and we have cedar mulch and hemlock mulch also. And so obviously, for obvious reasons, us gardeners at least prefer the natural mulches rather than the dyed. But
I think the colored ones are used mainly for aesthetics, for the landscaping look, rather than for the gardening benefits.
yeah, it and that kind of just, and at the same time, if you've got perennials that are more susceptible to different and annuals and vegetables, you want to kind of keep that mulch as clean as possible. Whereas if you've got a landscape that's been there for a long time and you use the colored mulches, it isn't quite as critical. So, but at the same time, those dyed mulches break down quicker than a hardwood mulch does. So like every other year, if you're putting the dyed mulches around your trees, let's just say out in your yard, you should be cleaning those out every year. And in the spring, the best way to do that is clean them out already in April. Leave it on for the winter. And then once we get into the middle of April, clean all that old bark out of there and what's kind of turned into dirt at that point in time, get that out of there and then put fresh mulch down. And about every other year would be best if you're using those dyed mulches, whereas you can go 3 or 4 years a lot of times if you're using cedar mulch or hardwood mulch. So, but the rules are still there.
There are a lot of rules. Guess what time it is?
So yeah, thanks again for the Master Gardener team here today. Rademann's open till noon today, Saturday, Monday through Friday till 4:30. You can still get a delivery, 922-7612, area 920, or stop on out 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, and then just east on County B, right there at the crest of the hill.
Alrighty, our thanks as always to Patty and to Katie and to Ron, and our thanks to you for your calls.